Today I have another special guest with me, my teammate and partner in crime, Tonya Romano. I have mentioned Tonya before on previous episodes, and I figured it would be really fun to have her on the show so that you can get to know her a little bit. So, Tonya is a functional nutritional therapy practitioner and certified dietary supplement specialist through the National Association of Nutrition Professionals. She has specialized training in gut health, hormones, blood chemistry, functional testing, and a deep understanding of how nutrition and lifestyle play a huge role in how the body functions. As a menopausal woman, Tonya believes focusing on gut health and hormones is particularly important for women 40 and over as they transition into perimenopause. Her commitment to ongoing education ensures she stays up to date on the latest research in women's health. Welcome, my friend. Thank you for being here.
Hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're going to have fun today. So, we're going to be talking about a bunch of different things. We're going to share some of the updates that we have made in the Hormone Rescue, why we do what we do, and all that good stuff. So, Tonya, can you start by sharing why you got into this work?
Yeah, so I've been in the nutrition business for, I don't know, coming on close to 8 years or so at this point. It was one of those, I needed to figure out my second act after raising my children. And this was just something that I had always been really passionate about. And, so I went back to school, got my certifications, and then I was about 42 and I went off of birth control. Not on purpose. I went away for a weekend, forgot it, thought, oh, once I start my period, I will take another pack of pills. Well, it never happened. It never came. I was like, what the heck?
Mm.
So 6 months later, I finally go to the doctor and he runs blood work, an FSH and an LH. And he comes back and says, oh, you don't need to go back on birth control unless you want to, because at that point I was also having hot flashes, night sweats, like
Mhm.
full on menopausal symptoms. And he's like, you're in menopause, you're good.
Wow.
I'm 42. And he's
Yeah.
like, well, it's early, but it happens. And I'm thinking, what? This makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
So, thinking critically, I'm like, this makes no sense. So I actually went and started doing my research into hormones. And so that's what really brought me into the hormone space. And I was able to actually get my cycle to come back every 28 days. And it stayed that way for the next 5, almost 6 years. So I wasn't in menopause. It was that the birth control had
Mm.
made my ovaries and my brain stop talking. And there we were. So
Wow.
yeah, so in that time I really got interested in, you know what we're doing to ourselves as women when we're taking birth control, and how our hormones work in our bodies. And yeah, and so I actually did enter menopause fully by the time
Mm.
I was 48 though. So that's where I'm at, and that's why I'm so passionate about it, because even doing the work that I do couldn't stop my body from going through those symptoms,
Mhm.
those really debilitating, like hot flashes every hour. On the hour I was drenched in sweat, and it was terrible. So I know what women are going through when they're dealing with this, and I'm so passionate about helping them to realize that this isn't what it's supposed to be like. You don't have to deal with it for the next 10 years or however long perimenopause into menopause lasts.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't know all of that. You've told me bits and pieces here and there, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's awful. Or
Yeah.
the fact that you got your cycle back, but then I do know that at 48, you start, that was it. That was it for
Yeah.
you. And that's kind of early for even a lot of
Mhm.
women. Some women are, the average is 51 when you go through menopause. Some go later. I know some people who are in their like mid 50s and they're still getting their period. They're like, how much
Yep.
longer is this gonna keep going? So,
Yeah.
but that just like proves what I say over and over is that we're all unique and everybody's story is different. And that's one of the reasons why I have invited Tonya to work with us in the Hormone Rescue and to support my clients in the business, because she has real life personal experience when it comes to that transition. And then the other reason why I've invited her is because running a business is a lot of work. And I have shared my own experience starting perimenopause in my late 30s, which was earlier than I anticipated. And I felt like I was losing my mind. And I was like, I can't continue doing this. I need help. And I wanted to be able to continue to provide the best possible care and support for my clients. And I was spreading myself too thin. I wasn't feeling my best. And I'm like, well, that's really hypocritical. Like I'm telling women to take care of themselves. And meanwhile, I'm over here like struggling big time. And so much of it was because of the hormone shift that I was experiencing. But, Tonya and I met and we kind of hit it off right away. We have a lot of similarities in regards to how we practice, how we approach client cases, our education, of course, and our personalities. In that, I feel like, I mean, I don't know if our clients would say this, but I think they would. We're pretty freaking down to earth. We have been through a lot. We have struggled. We have a lot of life stress, and somehow we are able to care for ourselves. Sometimes not perfectly, but we
Not
will admit
perfect.
that.
Not
There's never
perfectly.
perfect,
And
right?
no, but I think our clients actually appreciate the fact that we are down to earth and honest about it. I mean, you know, and we both have probably gone through that phase where it's like the do as I say, not as I do type of thing. And that is something that we really both have worked on, is getting ourselves into that space where we're like, okay, we need to be caring for ourselves just like we're telling our clients to, because we're human and we can let things kind of spiral and get away from us too. But that it's important that we keep each other honest and we are real with our clients about those things.
Yeah, and it's nice that we're both kind of in that. I mean, obviously you're menopausal, I'm perimenopausal, but you know what it's like. So when I have an
Mm-hmm.
off day or an off week, and I could rely on you, and if you need to take time off because you're running around with your boys, like then I'm there. So it's like a really nice team effort that we've created,
Absolutely.
and it's how we can better serve our clients, because nobody, and like we say to our clients, you can't do it all. You need help. You need to ask for help. You need to delegate where you can. So having that support is really important.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right. So another reason why, or what I wanted to kind of maybe you can speak to more about, is how we work with clients. And the other reason why I wanted you to be here was that so we can continue to offer more personalization with our client cases, because there's a lot of programs out there. Not many of
Mm-hmm.
them are necessarily geared towards women in their perimenopausal years, and a lot of them are very generic. So can you speak a little bit to how we personalize our client experience?
Yeah, of course. So Uh, I feel like we do a lot to try to make women feel that they are comfortable and getting our full attention when they have things going on. They have access to us, for a good portion of every single day. We have that chat group where everyone can post their questions, their concerns, their complaints,
Mhm.
whatever they have going on, and we really take the time to respond thoroughly so that they know that they're being heard. And I think there aren't probably a lot of programs that necessarily have access like that and have two of us to answer the questions so that we can bounce ideas off of each other as well. Like, we recently had that conversation about someone whose lipid panel didn't look great. And instead of, just saying, well, I don't know, she should probably see her doctor, we're actively thinking about ways that we can support her within our scope of practice. And that's really something that we try to do, is be available and thorough. The recommendations that we make for supplements within the protocols are based specifically on the testing that we do on the HTMA, on the GI map, on the blood work. You know, we may have some things that a lot of clients are going to be using that is similar, because we have a lot of similar clients. They're all perimenopausal, so they're all dealing with a lot of the same things, but the recommendations are truly personalized based on what we see on those tests.
Mhm.
And those are so critically important for making sure that we're supporting them how they need.
Yeah, and the test is certainly one part, but also we get to know our clients. So,
Mm-hmm.
we have them fill out a full intake form and has a lot of questions on there so that we could really understand them, their needs, their health
Yeah.
history. And that helps us really to create these personalized protocols. So, speaking of testing, Can you explain, why we use the tests that we use, the HTMA, the GI map, blood work, and why we don't necessarily recommend expensive hormone testing like many other practitioners do?
Yeah. Well, so I will say there are so many women, especially in the online space, that are, you see, I'm perimenopausal. I need a Dutch test. Should I do that test? First of all, like you said, it's expensive. It's really, really expensive.
Mhm.
And when you're in perimenopause and your hormones are going, woo, 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 and your progesterone's going,
Yeah.
I don't need a $500 test to tell me that your hormones are all over the place and in decline.
Hmm.
And even if you talk about some people tout that you look at pathways, right? We're looking at metabolic pathways and how you're metabolizing your hormones. And yeah, that's all fine and good. There are lots of pathways in the body, but they're going to be metabolized through your liver. So we can look at that through your GI map. How
Hmm.
is your body metabolizing all of the things it's exposed to? Toxins, heavy metals, you name it, hormones that your body's ready to be done and processed. So using the Dutch test for that, while in theory it sounds great, in practice it's expensive, and I don't know that it's giving us any better information than we can get, because the reality is, if we figure out that maybe your adrenals, or on the Dutch it says your adrenals are a little sluggish or whatever, I can see that on an HTMA,
Hmm.
right? And if we feel like I said, your pathways are low, I can see that on a GI map. So there are other tests that give a lot more information that we can use that are less expensive, less of a pain to interpret, all of those things. The HTMA is, in my opinion, one of the most valuable, if not the most valuable test that we have access to. That is hair tissue mineral analysis. And I know you talk about this all the time, but the HTMA, it's easy, it's fast. You can cut your own hair at home. Most of us have enough hair that you don't see that the hair is gone. It grows back. It's no big deal to do. And it can tell us so much. It can tell us, I mean, your overall mineral status, macro minerals, micro minerals, fine, but it also tells us, how are you handling stress? Like,
Hmm.
what's your nervous system doing? How are you in fight or flight all the time? You've been so amped up that you're now burnt out? What's your blood sugar doing? Because in perimenopause, we know blood sugar imbalance comes with the territory. And so we can look at that. It can tell us actually what your hormones are doing, your estrogen and your progesterone, based on your zinc and copper numbers. It can tell us about your nervous system, so much. How are you digesting? It even
Thyroid.
tells us the thyroid. Thank you. I'm like, there's one more. What am I forgetting?
Yeah.
Yeah, thyroid, your thyroid health, which again is another one of those areas that is really common to be dealing with the sluggish thyroid and perimenopause,
Mhm.
right? So the HTMA is amazing for all of those things. Yeah, that one's a great one. And then the GI map for gut health. And, we can see you're having a diverse microbiome, having it be, a healthy mucus layer, being able to have your body, your immune system and your gut functioning at tip-top shape, because somehow all of us by this time in our life, our gut health is suspect. I mean, we have as many women coming to us with hormone issues as we do with, I'm bloated, I'm gassy, I have diarrhea, I have constipation, right?
Hmm.
We say, people come to us, they're like, I know this is TMI, but honestly, we spend our days talking about
Yeah.
people's poop, because
Hmm.
so many women have gut health issues.
Hmm.
So why not go to the source and see what's going on down there? Right.
Yeah.
And so that test is really valuable as well. Yeah. And blood work, well, I mean, that's a gold standard, right? Blood work
Hmm.
is the gold standard. And I always say we look at blood work a little differently than your provider might. And this is an important distinction, is that, those levels that are on a lab are like, these, the range is like this, right? And so
Hmm.
you go to the doctor and your number is right here on the very edge, right? Your thyroid number is like there on the very edge, and you are gaining weight, you're exhausted, your hair is dry, your skin's dry, you don't feel right. And the doctor looks at it and he goes, "Oh no, you're in range."
Hmm.
Our numbers look a little different, right? Because we want to keep you in the range where you don't need treatment, We want to keep you feeling your best. And so our ranges are just a little bit tighter. And so we look at blood work through a functional lens. We look at patterns because nothing in the body happens in isolation. Everything is connected. And so there's a lot of times when we can look at a pattern of how the markers are some up, some down, you know, it makes a difference. And it's really, really useful to look at the blood work through that lens.
Yeah, I love blood work.
Yeah.
And well, I'll speak to some of the updates that we've made to the Hormone Rescue in a bit, but I feel like so many women are not getting comprehensive blood work. So we make it a point to include review of blood work for all of our clients and, based on whatever they want to share, or if they go and get the stuff that we recommend. But that gives us insight into your thyroid health, your metabolic health. Like a lot of women aren't getting like a full lipid panel, and their doctors are just looking at, say, total cholesterol, which does not give the full picture. So we really do a deep dive into that to really see what's going on with you and where you need to focus your support on. Because of course, there's a million food and lifestyle changes you can make, but unless you know what you need specifically, you're kind of just like throwing spaghetti at the wall. And that's another reason why we personalize as much as we do and include this testing and review, so we know what you need as an individual. So let's move along to HRT, a hot topic that everybody wants to know about. This month, we are doing an HRT mini masterclass. HRT is hormone replacement therapy. If anybody is totally new to this world, but I know most of my audience knows what HRT is because I've talked about it a lot on previous episodes. So can you explain a little bit, like, you shared a little bit of your experience in terms of how you got into this work, but what is your experience with HRT, and why do we emphasize education on that in the Hormone Rescue program?
Yeah. So I have been on HRT for coming on close to 2 years at this point. And I thought I wanted a provider that I could go to, right? Like I thought I wanted to be in person and see someone and whatever. So I searched high and low for a provider, thought I found one. He was okay for the time being, but then there was some things that were a little suspect. He wanted to give me oral estrogen, which we've talked about, and I'm sure you have talked about before. There are different forms of the hormones, and this is part of why we say it's so important to know what it is that you want when you go in, because you need to know what forms are going to work for your body. There's pills, there's creams, there's patches, there's troches, there's injections, there's pellets. There's so much out there that if I didn't know what I wanted before I went in, I could have probably been steered in a direction that wasn't right for me, right? Like I have a house full of men. I have estrogen cream. I use it every day. I don't want that rubbing off on my male animals or my male humans in my house.
Right.
So, these are things that are important to know before you go in. And so I switched doctors once. I now have found a provider that I love. She's great. She listens. She knows what I do. We talk through what it is that she's giving me and why. And I can also make requests and kind of, work with her as opposed to her just telling me she knows how it goes, because there's that issue. I really feel like there's so much misinformation out there and women are confused. And I see, we talked about it on social media. There is, 10 posts a day in various groups that I'm in, like, I'm hitting perimenopause. What do I do? I don't know what to do. I feel so awful. I'm gaining weight. People are complaining and they don't know what to do. And inevitably in the comments, someone will say, oh, go get pellets. They're life changing. And I cringe every time. I'm like, please don't do that. Please don't do that.
Yeah.
And, and I have to butt out and keep my nose out of it. But the education piece and knowing how to advocate for yourself is so critically important right now, because it's kind of like, not the Wild West, but it is, in terms of there are some providers who are very knowledgeable and very good with what they do in terms of prescribing hormone replacement therapy to women. And there are some that took a weekend course and are injecting pellets into women's asses. Like,
Yes.
There's a huge difference. And that is why we are so passionate about it, because we want women to feel empowered to go through this process, because we've been made to be a little bit scared of hormones too. I had someone say it the other day to me, like, I'm really scared. Your body's been making hormones forever. It's the same
Yeah.
thing. Bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. We are not like promoting or telling you to put anything into your body that hasn't been there. It's not like these are the synthetic hormones. This isn't like risky drugs that just came off of some trial. That's not what this is. We're replacing the hormones that were lost, and they do so many things for your body. Like it
Mm-hmm.
goes beyond relieving your hot flashes,
Mm-hmm.
brain health, bone health, heart health, so many
Weight,
areas.
libido,
Wait,
sleep, mood.
I
I mean, the list goes on.
a
Yeah. I
hundred, a
mean,
hundred, yeah. So like it's so critically important. So that's just why we're so passionate about it. And you can hear it when I'm talking about it. Like, we give you the education to empower you to be able to find, first of all, find a provider that makes sense, that's doing the right thing, that's not a weekend warrior, and
mhm,
to be able to go and know what you want, to have an educated conversation. And also, when they work with us, they can come back and say, my doctor's thinking about this. What do you think? And so
mhm.
we're able to support them through the journey, because there are a lot of questions that come up and they are unsure. And so I think we really give our clients that peace of mind that, like, okay, someone has my back through this process, which
Mhm.
is a little unknown, so it's really important just to be able to support the women that like we do.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, of course. But yes, and just to give an example, we have a client recently who she is very close to menopause. She's like had no period for almost a year, and she's like, okay, I am done with these symptoms because we've done all the things that we know to do. Give her supplements, support her food and lifestyle changes, but once you get to a point where your hormones are declining, they're not coming back, ladies. And I know there's a lot of people out there who will try to sell you on hormone balancing supplements and herbs and all this stuff. And yes, some of those things may help with symptoms, but they're not going to bring your hormones back in this stage of life. So you can be doing all the things, exercising, eating healthy, taking supplements, but you still may not feel well because you're losing hormones. And that not only affects your symptoms, but it affects your quality of life, and you have an increased risk of chronic diseases. And I've talked about this on previous episodes. But anyway, this particular client went to her OBGYN because he says that he prescribes hormone replacement therapy. And she went and she got a script, and she went to the pharmacy, picked it up, she brought it home, and she's looking at it, and she took a photo and shared it with us in our community chat, which is a very intimate community of our clients where they can post questions anytime. They'll get a response Monday through Friday, typically within 24 hours. We're both pretty good about answering as soon as we can.
or faster.
Sometimes faster. Yeah. Sometimes Tonya beats me to it or vice versa. And she shared the photo, and it was synthetic hormones, and it's something that we would never recommend. Now, with that said, we're not black and white in our thinking because, again, every woman is unique and may require a different form, a different type of hormone. But what we recommend is bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. We had to educate our client on that so that she can go back to her doctor and say, no, I don't want this. I want XYZ. So she wouldn't have known that if she didn't come to us, because there is so much information out there, misinformation and conflicting advice. And you go to your doctor and you think that you can trust that they're giving you the right thing, but that's not always the case, unfortunately. And it's not necessarily that they're doing it to be like malicious or anything like that. It's just that they don't even know what they don't know. So sometimes we have to educate our clients so that they can educate their doctors.
Yeah, I
Right?
mean, what was that stat? I think you posted it the other day. Someone posted it, like 70% of OBGYNs have no training in menopause. Was
Yeah, I
that the
think it was
stat? It
like
was some
29% does get something, but it's minimal education on
minimal. Yeah.
menopause. It's like, what? And how
Yeah.
many millions or billions of women go through menopause every year, which means that they've gone through perimenopause at some point, most of them,
Yeah.
unless you were like put into menopause, surgically or something. But yeah, like how many women are just not getting the support because doctors just are not educated. But
Yeah.
that's where we've done our homework. That's why we do what we
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
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 And we do have, it's important. We do have a list, an ongoing list that we share with our clients in the Hormone Rescue of all of the providers that we recommend that have been vetted and looked at, and that we trust enough to put on the list that we share with our clients. And we're always adding to it,
Mhm.
as much as we can. So that's also an important thing I think that they get, is that, they can trust that if they're going to someone that's on our list, they should be in good shape.
On that point, we have made several updates to the Hormone Rescue over the last couple of months. We were actually closed in June. We were not allowing anybody in because we've been making a bunch of updates behind the scenes. So let's kind of talk about some of what we have changed. And at the time that this is published, we will have reopened the Hormone Rescue for July enrollment. And we are welcoming new clients in. So we're happy to support you. So some of the things we've done, and then, Tonya, you can definitely chime in. We were a 6-month program for a while, but we have condensed the program to 4 months. And the reason for that is, we get it. Women are busy, sometimes thinking of like, oh my gosh, a 6-month program, like sounds like a lot in your head. And it's like, I don't want to commit the time to it. We want to make it kind of a no-brainer where you're getting a good amount of support in those 4 months that really can move the needle in so many things. So we've kind of condensed it even in terms of the education, because we are very education heavy, but we also know that you don't have time to sit there reading like, a 15-page PDF. Like, not that they were ever that long, but we have really tried to cut down on the education piece where now it's 8 easy to consume modules that are available via our app. It's a client app that you could download to your phone, or of course, you can look at it via your desktop. But it seems like most of our clients are very busy. They're on the go. A lot of them are moms. They're working moms. They're traveling. They're doing all the things. So they just, like you, Tonya, she's in her car a lot of weekends going to like her boys' basketball games, and she would rather be on her phone looking at something, right? So we've made it like as easy as possible for you to learn on the go without so much overwhelm.
And added videos. So I know Claudia has been working really hard because a lot of the modules had PDFs attached that you could open up and print, and that's where the content was. And there were little intro videos, but she's done a great job of adding videos so that if you are one who likes to consume your education via listening to it, now you can.
And then in terms of the support, you're still getting, of course, a lot of personalization. That's something that, like I said, we really prioritize because we want you to get results. We don't want you to feel like, oh, this is a one size fits all program, because health is not.
No.
We have both learned that personally and clinically. Like, everybody is different, even though, yes, most women that are working with us are in their perimenopausal years. And yes, there are some foundations of health that everybody would benefit from. Again, everybody's picture history is different. So one thing that we have just tweaked a little is once you join the program, just to kind of get you started, obviously you can go through our modules and educate yourself, but we do a personalized video assessment. So you have to fill out like an intake form, of course, so that we can better get to know you. But one of us will review it and we send you a video so that we can explain like where are some of the areas in your health that you really need to focus on, whether it's your diet, your stress, your sleep, your gut. We also look at your supplements because Tonya can speak to this. How many supplements are some of our clients on when they come to us?
Oh my God. Listen, I get it. It's like you see online, or what should I be taking for this? And someone recommends 4 things. So you start to take all of them. And the next thing you know, you've got a rotation of 12 supplements and you don't know why you're on them.
Mm-hmm.
I see it all the time. I mean, the list of some of the supplements that people come to us on, it's like, why are you taking that? Well, I don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
Or the other side, I see a ton of, well, they started taking it, like probiotics are one. They started taking their probiotic 3 years ago and they're just still taking it. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everyone's been told to take a probiotic. It's so good for you. It's so good for you. Take a probiotic, but there are trillions of microbes in your system and they all need to be fed. So taking the same probiotic with the same strains forever, it's like, oh God, stop.
Yeah.
I find myself a lot of times going, oh no, but
Me
it's
too.
okay. Listen, the fact of the matter is though, the women that come to us and are taking that many supplements, most of the time it's because they really want to do the work because they've been trying so hard to fix what's going on. And then they find us. And
Mm-hmm.
so, having that intake form with that information and knowing everything that they've tried and knowing everything that they're taking, it just helps us to kind of steer them in the right direction and set up a plan for them that makes the most sense. That's, truly what their body needs based on what's going on and what they've done.
Exactly. And it almost helps you save money and frustration because like I said earlier, a lot of women are just throwing things at the wall to see what sticks. And yeah, maybe you're following like one of your favorite, influencers on Instagram or somebody that maybe you've done their program and they're recommending supplements, but do you need that? And should you be taking it for 6 months, 12 months, or longer? Maybe not. And it could be doing some damage. A lot of women don't realize that just because supplements are natural doesn't mean that they're completely benign. In the case, like just to give an example, vitamin D, we see a lot of women taking vitamin D, and oftentimes they're not, taking it correctly. They're not taking it with the right cofactors. They're not addressing why there's vitamin D deficiency, if there is even in fact a vitamin D deficiency. And these are the things that we dig into. One other thing is we are updating our HRT education. So we have a full module on hormone replacement therapy. There's like frequently asked questions in there. There's all the different types of hormone replacement therapy, showing like different ingredients that are in them so you can make a better choice whether or not you want to have certain ones on your body or consumed. We, like Tonya mentioned, we have an HRT provider directory, and these are approved providers that we have been vetting. We have been getting recommendations from colleagues, doctors that we know of in our network, nurse practitioners, as well as some providers that our clients have even found that they really like. Tonya talked about the HTMA earlier. She talked about the GI map. We talked about blood work a little bit, but just so you know, with the new updates in the Hormone Rescue, in terms of testing that's included, you get an HTMA test. Everybody gets an HTMA test because we love that test so much. It gives us so much insight into you. And we also include review of your blood work. So a lot of women will come to us with blood work, and sometimes it's enough. Many times it's not enough. So we also give you a new panel that we have customized with a lab that we use. It's basically a hormone, metabolic, and thyroid panel because we do like to look at, like I said earlier, your just your metabolic health, your thyroid, your lipids. And we do look at hormones, but again, we believe that using blood work is gold standard, and it's not necessary to spend all that extra money on a fancy hormones test, even though I have used them in the past. I just don't feel that women in perimenopause, as Tonya said, it's really necessary. So we'll look at it in blood, but we'll tell you what days to test and, what makes sense and all that. But if for some reason your provider is not cooperative in doing that blood work, we have a panel that you can order. You can add it on, you can purchase it, which is great. And it's very comprehensive. And it's basically a list of all of those. And then the GI map, because it is a little bit more of an investment, that is an additional add-on if you would like to look at your gut. With that said, we have a full module on gut health, and we emphasize gut health in everything we teach, right, Tonya?
Yes, we do. Yeah. I mean, and that's the other thing that we haven't, we're talking about all the testing that we do and the intake forms and whatever. It's important to know that we really understand that supplements aren't the end all be all for what we're trying to do here. And even adding HRT without the other pieces that we really promote and spend a lot of time on, none of this is going to work. Nervous system support is so critical. Diet, what you're putting in your body, like these things are so important. Moving your body, exercise. So we really spend a lot of time asking people, how did you sleep? I feel so stressed out today. There's so many women that are like, I'm really anxious, I'm really grumpy, I'm really this. And instead of saying, okay, well, we're going to give you such and such a supplement for your anxiety, we say, what's different? What did you do different? Did you sleep? How was your sleep this week? Did you, where are you at in your cycle? Did you go for a walk today? Have you gotten outside, saw the sun? So there's so many other pieces that are critically important, those foundations of health. They just really are so important, and we emphasize them a lot. And I think we do a good job of, while we understand everyone's busy, trying to keep people accountable and then give them the tools to be able to implement some of these things we're recommending. Like, why don't you try it this way? If you don't think that you can get out and go for a 2-mile walk, can you go outside, put your feet on the ground and stretch for 5 minutes in the morning? We give them doable, bite-sized little ways to incorporate these things. And I think that's an important thing too, because it's
Yeah,
missing for a
for
lot of
sure.
women.
Oh, yes. It's like I think sometimes women want to like dive all in and they in their mind they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to do all this." But it's like, no, no, no. If you're not like drinking water every day, if you're not like Tanya said, getting some sunshine, moving your body, like we're going to remind you of that because no matter what age you are, no matter what your health condition is, I have been in this business for over 10 years. I have worked with many, many, many clients. I always focus on those things. And yes, the supplement piece, the hormones, all that is important and we bring
Mhm.
that in. But if you are not making food and lifestyle changes, you will never feel well. Period. End of story. And
Yeah.
we get on our soapboxes about that.
Yeah.
But speaking of accountability, in our group chat, we have Motivation Mondays. So every Monday you see a post in there and it basically is like, what are you working on this week? So that we can kind of come in and check in on you. Like, hey, how's that going? How did you do? And then Thursdays, we're adding something new called Healthy Habits or Healthy Habit Thursdays, where we're giving you one thing to do, like one manageable piece, like one action step for you to start implementing, whether it's, focusing on your hydration or upping your protein intake or going for a little bit of a longer walk or whatever it is to just like keep you accountable and remind you that you have to start implementing these things into your daily
Mhm.
life so that they become like second nature.
Yeah.
And then on Fridays we have our check-in Fridays so that we can see like how'd your week go, what was good, what was a struggle, and then kind of coach you around that. And then we do have some pop-up challenges that we do
Mhm.
periodically, which are fun. What do we have coming up next? You're working on this one.
Yes, I am the protein challenge. So
Yeah.
we are obviously always promoting the importance of protein in perimenopause and beyond for muscle health, muscle maintenance, and so many other things that protein is good for. Sleep, weight management, you name it. We could go on and on. Anyway, so usually when we do these challenges, we try to do them quarterly. This one's a protein challenge. And so we are going to be putting up posts a couple times a week and encouraging our clients to get involved, tell us how they've, I don't know, one post is like, how'd you cook your protein today? Like, let's share recipes and things like that, just to kind of get people involved and hold them accountable to all of these lifestyle pieces. So in the past, we've done, a detox challenge, which wasn't like a cleanse of any sort. It was more talking about what products do you have in your household? What kinds of foods are you taking in? How are you supporting your detox pathways in your body? So we did a detox challenge. What was the other one we did around the holidays? I'm forgetting what that one
That
was.
was a fun one, the gratitude challenge, because we
Oh
also
yeah.
focus a lot on mindset because
Yeah.
mindset plays a massive role in how you feel. I believe that. I see it. I've seen it for years. So that was
Yeah.
a fun one. They really liked
Yeah.
that.
That was good. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing that Tanya can speak on is, a lot of women come to us in this stage of life with weight that will not budge, right? It is one of the
Hmm.
biggest symptoms that women deal with. You're already not feeling well, your mood is different, your periods, your sleep, and then on top of it, you're like, why am I gaining weight? Like it's my job. Why do I have this belly fat? So while this is not like only about weight loss in this program, it is a focus because again, so many women, they will feel better if they lost a little bit of weight, they'll have more confidence. So Tanya, can you speak a little bit to the
Yeah.
macros, why we do that and why it's not mandatory for women to track macros?
Yeah. So, first of all, when I was talking about how I hit menopause, it was like a brick wall. I literally put on like 15 pounds, I think, overnight. I was like, what the heck happened? And we hear it all the time. Everything that I've always done isn't working anymore. I'm doing all the same things, but it's not working. The weight's just piling on. And it has to do with that shift in hormones, that shift in your thyroid health, that blood sugar imbalance. There are so many of those pieces that are kind of getting out of whack as your hormones are all wonky. So we can't do what we've always done and think that it's going to work anymore. It's just not that simple. And it is somewhat calories in, calories out. Not every calorie is the same. So there's that piece to it. Macro counting is important if you are someone who has never really done it and you think that you're eating clean and healthy, but at the end of the day, you have no idea how many calories you've taken in. You have no idea how much protein you've taken in. So we don't necessarily require it. But if weight loss is a focus for you, the macros module can be a really good tool to figure out, even in the short term, tracking a little bit to learn what 100 grams of protein plus, most women should be getting 130 to 140, depending on their weight. But, to learn what that looks like in a day so that you can, going forward, even if you're not strictly tracking, say, I probably should have another little bit of protein. I should make myself a protein bowl before bed, which a protein bowl I say is like Greek yogurt, scoop of protein powder, a little water, make it a pudding. It's delicious. But, so you don't have to do it forever. It's just a good tool to make sure that you are taking in the protein and the fiber that you need. If your workouts are a little sluggish, you could look at your carb count and go, oh, you know what? I'm not taking in enough carbs. I don't have enough oomph to get through this workout. So it's a tool and it does work. Because while it's not strictly, like I said, calories in, calories out when you're perimenopausal, it still plays a role, So teaching women how to track at least protein and fiber properly, super important, because if you're tracking and you don't know what you're doing, you're still not helping yourself. It takes a little bit of a learning curve, and I support all of our clients with that because it's a pain to track, but it's so, so helpful, even in the short term.
Yeah. And then the last thing that we've kind of enhanced, we've always had a monthly membership. So once you go through the Hormone Rescue program initially, you have the option to stay with us as long as you need on a monthly basis. We have tweaked that a bit so that there's more perks in it. It's essentially the Hormone Rescue VIP membership. So you essentially have access to a functional healthcare team, Monday through Friday, like we said. Like, you can post questions, you remain in the group chat, you still get access to the program, any updates we make, you can still attend any, we do have group calls as well where you can come in there if you need some extra support. And one other really awesome perk is that as a VIP member, then you're able to do monthly check-ins with myself and or Tonya. Right now I'm still doing them, but if we ever, if it gets to be too much, then Tonya may be doing some as well, where you can just check in with us. And we have a lot of clients who do that. Like, they just love kind of having us in their corner. If they're starting HRT towards the end of the program and they have questions, or maybe something comes up, or they're like, hey, I went on vacation and I fell off the wagon, like, help me kind of get back on track. Or, hey, I'm done with my supplements. Like, is there anything else I should be taking? If they want to retest, like, that's the other thing that we do recommend. So like we said, we include an HTMA in the program. We do look at your blood work. We do have the option to add on a GI map, and some women will want to retest. We really recommend retesting your HTMA. And then, of course, getting blood work at least once, if not twice a year. Typically, again, you'll be getting hopefully a comprehensive panel with us. But, we do like to retest to see where you are, what has improved, where you're still needing support, because we don't like to just recommend, haphazardly. Like, we want to know what your body is actually responding to and what you need to feel even better. So that's an option for you when you're in the VIP membership. You can retest at pretty sweet prices, if I say so myself. Try to keep things really fair and affordable for our clients.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think that's mostly it. Anything else you want to add, Tonya?
I don't think so. I mean, I think the updates we've made, people are going to really appreciate. I mean, I think we've worked really hard to take the feedback, because we ask for feedback as well. So we've worked really hard to take the feedback we've been given, and try to simplify things, because again, with our client population that is really busy women dealing with a lot of stuff, simple is the way to go. So I think we have done a really good job of taking everything and kind of compartmentalizing it, making it bite-sized chunks of stuff for people to listen to, making ourselves accessible as much as possible. So, I think our current clients who are in the membership are going to like the updates. And I think our new clients are going to really appreciate it as well.
Yeah. Thank you. I
Yeah.
agree. So Tonya can be found on Instagram. I know you hang out there. I share her sometimes on Instagram. What is your handle again, in case somebody wants to follow you?
Yeah, it's not easy. I need a new handle.
It's fine.
It's at Finding Balance FN for functional
FN.
nutrition.
Okay.
FN for functional nutrition. I wanted
Yeah.
just Finding Balance when I did it. It was gone.
It's
So we
fine.
added the FN for anyway. Yeah.
It's totally fine. I'm going to put that in the show notes so people can click on the
Yeah.
link anyway. But
Yeah.
yeah, Tonya is, like I said, she is my teammate. She is my partner in crime. She's been with us now for, I don't even know. It's been over a year for sure.
Yeah,
Maybe
we're
two
working
years. I
on
don't know.
no, year and a half or
Year
so,
and a
I
half.
think. Yeah.
And yeah, it's been a great addition. I love having Tonya there. Our clients love her. She's even just the way she answers questions in the group. Like I said, most of the time she beats me to it. And they're always so thought out, well thought out. And it's never just like one word answers. Well, that's not how we roll here. We like to over deliver and give you as much information as we can so that you can make educated choices about your own health, your own body. So yeah, I really hope that you consider working with us in the Hormone Rescue.
Yes, please. You all should you all should join us. We have a lot of
Yes,
fun.
we
We
do.
do.
And you'll get healthy along the way, and then hopefully share what you
We
learn
do.
with others. That's part of it too. So much of what we teach our clients, yes, it's for perimenopausal women, but they teach their kids, they teach their partners like how to
Mhm.
eat better, how to support their bodies, how to support their nervous system. It's so needed in this world because it's just not really a priority for a lot of people, and we're all so busy, and
Mhm.
your health is your number one asset. I believe
Absolutely.
that. So,
I do
all
too.
right. Thank you so much for being here, Tonya.
Thanks for having
And
me
thank you
on.
for listening. And we'll see you next week. Bye. The information provided is for educational and informational purposes only. I am not, nor do I act as a doctor or any other medical professional. I am not providing healthcare, medical services, or attempting to diagnose, treat, prevent, or cure any physical, mental, or emotional disease or condition. The information shared is not intended to be a substitute for the professional medical advice provided by your own medical or mental health provider.